What's up, guys? Riley here, back with another episode of the Minnesota Timberwolves rebuild on Basketball GM. And just going forward, just a quick note, I'm going to start making these episodes around 10 to 15 minutes, so I'm going to try to cut down on the time. I know the first two episodes were pretty lengthy, but let's get right into it here today. So, taking a look at where we left off from last time, we are 18 and 17. We're very much in the playoff race right now. Not really something I was expecting, but that could quickly change, so we'll see. If we can hold this position at least and maybe make a playoffs as a lower seed, or I guess technically a higher seed. But I guess the main points of conflict right now are the profit for the season. We're negative 37 million, so we're very much losing money quickly. And then we also have to decide, what to do with these contracts, whether we offload D'Angelo Russell, which we explored, sort of shopped him a little bit last time. To little success, and then also Karl-Anthony Towns, who he is the franchise player. We probably want to keep him, but it may be time to let him go to greener pastures, and then try to rebuild with the picks and whatever package we got from him. But as of right now, we're contending. We're going to stick with it, and also I think the start of the last episode was Ed Davis, so we're gonna keep playing him and see how that progresses from here. So let's start playing here and keep advancing through the season. I think we'll probably get to around the All-Star break and then potentially pass it as well. So we'll see. We may have to make some decisions if we hit the trade deadline here. So let's just keep going day by day here. We have the Hawks up next, and we get a 113-107 win. Ricky Rubio now returns from injury as well, so that helps out the bench a little bit. Taking a look at the scorers, Malik Beasley helps out a lot from the bench. He's been a very nice bench player for us. He may be in contention for the sixth man of the year potentially. I'm not 100% sure there, but been very helpful from the bench. Of course, Cat, and then Anthony Edwards actually having a pretty solid game too. Which, quick note, the big news story lately for the Timberwolves is that they finally decided to fire Ryan Saunders, their current head coach, or ex head coach. So maybe we can actually potentially look to invest a little bit more money in the head coaching position, just to make it a little bit more realistic. And say, okay, we're in real life they're looking for a new head coach, and we'll upgrade. So we're going to upgrade our coaching money a little bit, even though that's going to result in us losing more. But just for the sake of immersion and realism, let's commit to it. So 6-point win there. Then we have Boston. We've kind of had Boston's number, I feel like, this season. But that could be wrong. But I think we can check head-to-head, actually. Maybe. Whatever. Well, I'm not really, actually haven't really tried that before. So anyway, so Boston, 6-point win here. So we're getting lots of tight wins, or at least recently we have anyways, these last two. Jaylen Brown puts up 41, but not much help from elsewhere. Tatum was out, so that's kind of why we were favored in that one. And then Anthony Edwards puts up another 28. So he's been, really, really progressing and producing for us. And then we've had Malik Beasley coming up and scoring, off the bench. That's kind of been the formula this season. And then a little help in there from Russell, and of course, Karl-Anthony Towns putting up 29 a game roughly so far still. So favorite. Now we're the favorites against the Nuggets, and we handle them. So that's solid. Anthony Edwards out for 2 games, unfortunately. But that's 3 straight wins right there, and these are the sort of runs, mini runs that make it hard for me to really commit to, offloading the bigger contract guys, because I feel like we have the makeup, surprisingly, of this team to potentially make a run. But Karl-Anthony Towns puts up 31 there. Then we have Russell putting up 26. So typical. Beasley only puts up 5, and then also Edwards gets hurt in 15 minutes into the game, or 15 minutes of production from him before he gets hurt anyways. And the Ed Davis project continues to reap its rewards. So we're going to start. I think we probably want to start at Kogi, actually, and then give him a few minutes, and then Malik Beasley still gets the bench minutes, but it's helpful because he's playing against that second unit, and he's a high volume scorer. So all right, so we have decided to go with Kogi. We're going to move on with him, and then hopefully we have some semi-success anyways in these next two without Anthony Edwards. But he has been a pretty crucial part of this team which of course is promising because you want to see that type of production from the first overall pick. I guess the second biggest news story as well, coming out of the Timberwolves sector for this season, or recently anyways, has been the huge dunk that he had the other night against the Raptors. Huge deal in the media, of course. Sports Center, those types of outlets like to eat that up. But pretty cool to see him making headlines, Anthony Edwards, despite their poor season so far in real life. Kogi plays 24 minutes, 1 for 5. Obviously, he's not going to be a crazy high volume scorer now, but I still see some potential in him growing. But all in all, it's a 20-point loss against the Bucks, and it ends up being a 13-point loss against the Wizards. So, kind of expected that, honestly. Edwards has been so crucial to us, and, all in all, missing out on him for 2 games results in 2 losses. So we'll stick him back in the lineup, but we're going to stick with Culver and Davis as well and continue forward here. Let's just take a quick look at the standings now that we've lost 2 in a row after winning 3 in a row. I'm still holding on to that 5th seed. We're about a game and a half in right now over the Kings, and then the Warriors 2.5 behind us in 10th. So we're hanging on. Let's keep progressing here. We have the Suns up next. Hopefully we can bounce back with a win, and we do. 7-point win against the Suns. Let's check the scoring here. Wow. So Cat put up 40. Edwards, Russell helping out a little bit, and then Beasley off the bench. Typical game for us, and it's working. It's continuing to work. So we're going to keep pushing forward here. Looking at some of the younger players, how they've done this season, Jaden McDaniels has had a pretty limited role, playing 28 games, only 7 minutes a game, and not much production there. And then moving up to the more impactful younger players, we have a Kogi putting up about 7 points a game from 22 minutes, which is okay. Looking at his estimated wins added, -0.4, so still a below average player in that regard. And then the more important ones, of course, would be Culver, -0.3 estimated wins added, 9 minutes per game from 9 points per game from 24 minutes. So, as a starter, he's been consistent. He helps us out defensively for sure, and that's why he has, maintained his role. And then, of course, 19-year-old Anthony Edwards putting up 14 points a game from 30 minutes. About as good as we could have expected him to be at this point in his career. So, really excited about him and how he'll progress going forward. But let's move on and keep pushing through here. So a big loss against the Lakers. I'm just going to skip over that one. Pretend that one did not happen, even though, of course, we kind of expect to lose to the Lakers at this point. And here we hit the trade deadline. This was kind of what I was expecting. So we lose by 2 to the Pistons, and that kind of puts us in an interesting situation now because if we take a look at the standings, wow, Jeremy Grant puts up 35 against us. The Pistons are not too bad, 19-25, but unlikely to make the playoffs. In real life, similar story, I think. But looking at the situation here, so we're 2 games in still. So we are very much in the conversation, but we have hit the trade deadline. So I feel like it's necessary to at least explore moving on. Russell's the guy that we need to move on realistically. We can build around Towns, but having Russell on $29 million a season for the next 3. Or at this point 2.5 is not ideal. But looking at the deals we're getting, I mean, the Cavs actually, so this is sort of realistic. The Cavs wanting to get rid of Drummond, but I mean, that does not make sense for us at all to add another big man. It just does not make any sense, and we only get a 2nd round pick with him. So we'll ask one more time, but I don't think we're going to get anything worth even looking at, and we don't. So yeah, we're just going to have to stick with Russell here for at least this season. Hopefully he progresses. He's only 25, but I don't really think there's anyone else that we really want to dump at this point. Rubio's had good production off the bench. Obviously Beasley has been a crucial player for us. I think trading him at this point would be really detrimental to our season, and we would only be shedding, the $15 million in cap, so not a huge dent compared to the much bigger contracts in our team. Moving down the list, I mean, Hernan Gomez, I don't think he's going to demand much value at all. And then same for the likes of Layman, which, it's not even really necessary that we dump them at this point. So I think we just stick. I think we stick with what we got. Hopefully we make the playoffs. If not, hopefully we can make the most of a, mid to early-ish round pick, whatever we end up getting. But we have Brooklyn up next, so this should be a pretty tough one. We are 9-point underdogs. We're going to progress for probably another 7 to 10 games here, and we have a huge loss and Cat's out. So brilliant. So this is an interesting question. How do we line up without Cat? Do we go a bit smaller? Do we go Hernan Gomez maybe? Put him in the 4 and then have Davis play the 5 while Cat's out? I think that makes a little bit of sense. Looking at Culver as well, I feel like he could play the 4, 6'6". He could probably play a 4. That would be a very small lineup though. Have Culver play the 4, maybe add another shooter in, potentially add Layman, who is hitting 35% from beyond the arc this season. Not too bad. Really the only other option we have. I don't think we can play Edwards as a 3 defensively. That just doesn't work all that well. He's 6'5", but I would rather have, a better defender playing the 3 there. So I think Layman makes the most sense, but obviously his defensive IQ is 37, but when it comes to his length, that's Hernan Gomez. When it comes to his length, though, I think it matches up better, and also he's, productive at least beyond the arc. He's 6'8", like I said, 37 defensive IQ, so that's a little worrying. But he has been scoring. 3-point percentage has gone up a little bit since last season, so I think that's probably the direction we're going to go. So yeah, we'll go Layman. It's tough though. Hernan Gomez just isn't a good enough defender, even though their defensive IQs are basically similar. I just think, is he hitting better from to be fair, he is hitting 38%. So, we'll go with Hernan Gomez for a game. We'll try him out, and then we'll stick with Davis. I think we're going to lose these games no matter what. We have the Lakers up next, and looking at their lineup, they're probably going to be a bit bigger. Yeah, very, very much so. They're actually starting Gasol, Harrell, and Davis, and then Schroeder and James as the 2 guards. But that's a huge lineup, so we probably want to stick a pretty big lineup against them. So we'll go Hernan Gomez and Davis, and then we'll adjust next game if necessary. But I'm anticipating we're probably going to get smacked around in this one. We didn't lose by 8. We actually played the Lakers 2 in a row, so that's not ideal without Cat. And this is where we could start to see our season slip from our fingers here. The playoff berth may start to look more and more unlikely. But looking at the production we get from Hernan Gomez, it's not great. Just 4 points. Davis with 2, Culver with 6. So the regulars are scoring, but not so much everyone else. So we may as well give the Layman experiment a go now that we lost that one. We kept it tight, but I think giving Layman a chance to produce here is worth a shout. I'm kind of intrigued by playing Culver at a 4 as well. I feel like that makes a little bit of sense to me. So let's go ahead and do that and see if we can improve on our score at all against the Lakers, make it even a little bit tighter. And we actually lose by 17. So, all in all, we're probably going to lose those games anyway, but worth an experiment. Give some new guys a chance to produce in the starting lineup. So let's go so we're at, 46 games now. Let's go to 50 games. So we'll play 4 more games here. We'll call it there. Like I said, I think the season is 72. If I'm not mistaken, it might be 76. But I think it's 72. So I think we'd have about 22 games left to play. We can split that up into maybe 2 episodes, or maybe just finish the regular season next episode and progress from there. So now we get Cat back at least, so we can go. Actually, we want Culver in there. So yeah, we'll go with the usual lineup here that has been winning us games fairly consistently. It's of course the Russell, Edwards, Culver, Davis, and Towns, and then Beasley coming off the bench, Rubio coming off the bench, and Kogi. Those are the main 3 benchmen's guys, and then Layman and Hernan Gomez getting some mid-tier benchmen's as well. So let's hope to bounce back against the Hornets, but we lose by 20. So maybe we need to consider letting go of this Davis experiment and going back to Hernan Gomez. I say we maybe give it one more game, and if this doesn't work out, which Houston should be a bit of a bigger lineup at this point as well. I guess they're starting Tucker over Cousins, so never mind. Pretty small. So we'll go Davis. I don't know if this matches up very well. So I think we may just have to pull the plug on Davis for this one, and we'll try Hernan Gomez. And if this starts working out, then so be it. But we're kind of this is kind of the point of the season where I figured that we would start to lose our grip on a playoff spot. But we do win by 11, so good bounce back win there. Back to 23 and 25. We probably should just be outside the playoff spots right now. Great games from Towns and Russell, so good, coming through, and we needed them. Solid production from Hernan Gomez as well, and now Davis is might lose his spot in the team, unfortunately. But if that's what it takes for us to win, then it's necessary. We get another big win against the Bucks, so not all that not all that great for Davis's prospects on his spot in the team. But clearly that experiment had kind of run its course. So good minutes from Layman in this one. Good production from Rubio off the bench. Then of course we get the typical Russell, which is he actually scores 40 in this one, which is pretty impressive. That's probably his best game of the season. And then we have the Clippers up next now. So let's take a look at the standings. This will be our last game of the day, and we are currently in the 8th seed. We're a game and a half in, so we're gonna have to beat out the Warriors and the Nuggets to get a playoff spot. I don't really anticipate the Kings will hold on there. So those are our two contenders. Maybe we can look to move up. We're only a half game out of 6th, 2 games out of 5th, so we can still climb back up a little bit. But I'm anticipating it's going to be a very tough position to hold on to. And if we can win this one against the Clippers, this will be huge. But I'm anticipating a loss, and that's exactly what happened. So now we get the All-Star break. That's perfect. So we'll play out this All-Star break. I don't think anyone besides Towns will get a call, but maybe Russell has an outside chance, but I don't really anticipate it. So I think Towns is the only All-Star for us. Let's take a look at the draft here. I think it should pop up. And actually, Towns is the 3rd best player essentially at this point. So currently ranking 3rd in the MVP race, anyways, as James and Giannis get the 2 calls, which I'm pretty sure it's the same this year, if I'm not mistaken. Actually, it's LeBron and KD. So Giannis misses out this season. But let's just simulate this. I mean, to be fair, I don't really care all that much about the All-Star game. Let's take a look at how Towns did that, may as well, just to support our guy here. So Towns starts and gets 23, so fair enough. Good little showing for him, not that it matters at all. Actually, the All-Star game is sort of a topic of controversy right now for the NBA. I feel like it's a little risky at this point, but seems like the league is going to follow through with it and play it. So that's going to be it for this episode, though. We are 24 and 26. We are hanging on to a playoff spot right now. Let's take a look at the standings again. We actually moved up to 7th despite losing. So it's going to be a very, very tight race. And actually, like I said, the Kings were probably not going to hold on to that spot, but they actually jumped over the Warriors temporarily as well. So we are now 22 games out of the playoffs. I'm pretty sure. I think it's 72. So 22 games out of the playoffs. We are hanging on to a playoff berth, and we are losing lots of money doing it. That's going to be it for the episode. Hope you guys enjoyed, and hopefully you guys are still enjoying this series. Like I said, let me know your thoughts or ideas in the comment section, and I will progress from here. And hopefully you guys like the shorter video format as well, because I know those longer episodes can kind of get a little tedious. But thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you guys later.